Welcome to the soft light of the Corner Bookstore, a tranquil and comforting sleep story designed to help you gently drift into peaceful slumber. If you find solace and relaxation in this experience and would like to discover more narratives designed for rest, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us to continue creating stories like this for you. Before we begin our journey into the quiet world of Havenwood and its beloved bookstore, we'll take a few moments for a gentle breathing guidance to help you release the day's tensions and settle into a calm and peaceful state. For those who prefer to skip ahead to the story itself, you can find the timestamps for each chapter in the description below. Take a moment to find a comfortable position, allowing your body to settle into your bed or chair, feeling supported and at ease. If you need to adjust your blankets or pillows, please do so, ensuring that you are completely comfortable and cozy. This is a time for you to release the day's stresses and enter into a quiet and soothing environment. Imagine the soft, warm light of a corner bookstore, its walls lined with shelves holding countless stories, its air filled with the gentle aroma of aged paper and calming herbal tea. Allow this image to surround you, inviting relaxation. Now, let's begin a journey of mindful breathing together. Take a gentle inhale through your nose, as if you're softly drawing in the sweet scent of lavender. Feel the air filling your lungs, and as you exhale, do so slowly and quietly through your mouth, like the soft sigh of a book closing. With each breath, feel your body softening, becoming more relaxed, more at ease, and more deeply rooted in the moment. With every gentle inhale, imagine your cares gently releasing from your brow and shoulders as you exhale. Feel yourself sinking deeper into your position of rest. Picture the peaceful interior of the bookstore, with the gentle sound of pages turning and the warm glow of the lamps, filling you with a sense of quiet tranquility. If your mind happens to wander, that is perfectly fine and understandable. Just allow the thoughts to pass, like wisps of clouds in a calm sky, and then gently bring your attention back to the breath or the sound of my voice. There's nothing to strive for here, just to be present and allow the story to unfold. Feel the steady rhythm of your breath, a slow and comforting beat that is always present, as if the books themselves are quietly breathing beside you. Let the calm order of the bookshelves surround and embrace you as they release all worries and doubts. This is your time to rest, to let go, to receive. Let us begin our journey to the Corner Bookstore. Chapter 1. The Morning Ritual. The old wooden door of the corner bookstore creaked softly as Aster turned the key in the lock, the sound a familiar greeting to the quiet street. The sky was still painted with the deep hues of pre-dawn, a soft indigo gradually giving way to the first subtle hint of rose along the horizon. The air was cool and crisp, carrying the faint scent of damp earth and the promise of a new day. She stepped inside, the gentle click of her heel on the worn floorboards echoing in the stillness. She moved with practiced ease, her steps familiar within the comforting layout of the space. First, she went to the small kitchenette tucked away in the back, her hands already reaching for the kettle and the ceramic canister holding her favorite herbal blend. Chamomile, and lavender, its scent immediately filling the room as the kettle began its soft, low hum. She chose her cup, a delicate porcelain piece with tiny painted forget-me-nots along its rim. It was a habit she cherished, the small act of preparing her tea a moment of quiet contemplation. While the water heated, Aster moved to the small collection of potted plants by the front window. Each one held a specific space, leaves that brushed against each other with gentle grace. She reached for her small watering can, a vintage piece with a long, slender spout, and carefully watered each one. The soil was still slightly damp from her care the day before, and she noticed a small new leaf emerging from one of the ferns. She took a moment to appreciate the soft, delicate edges of the unfurling leaf, its new growth a promise of the day's unfolding beauty. Next, Aster moved to the small table beside the window and reached for her vase. It was a simple glass piece that she collected from a nearby antique shop. She carefully reached for the small bouquet of fresh wildflowers that she picked on her morning walk and began to arrange them with intention. The light purple of the lavender blossoms, the bright yellow of the buttercups, and the soft blue of the forget-me-nots brought a gentle splash of color to the room. She carefully adjusted each stem, paying close attention to the way the light caught the delicate petals and how the soft colors interplayed. With the flowers carefully placed, Aster returned to the kitchenette, the soft whistle of the kettle now a comforting sound. She carefully poured the steaming water into her cup, the scent of the chamomile and lavender now mingling with the other familiar aromas of the bookstore, aged paper, ink, and old wood. As the tea steeped, Aster settled into her favorite armchair, a worn velvet piece that embraced her with gentle comfort. She held the warm cup in her hands, taking a moment to appreciate its soothing heat and the calming scent rising from its surface. Aster closed her eyes, breathing deeply, allowing the warmth and calm to permeate her. Her day has already begun with gentle awareness. With ease, she opened her eyes and reached for a small notebook, its cover worn soft, and a pen, carefully noting the soft sounds of the morning as it begins and the light as it shifts. She wrote down, "The slow opening of the day brings quiet, and with that, ease and gentle awareness." She smiled to herself and brought the warm teacup to her lips, knowing that the day was unfolding with grace. The first rays of sun were now touching the tops of the buildings, gently illuminating the quiet street and casting a soft glow through the bookstore windows. The light began to paint the spines of the countless books with warmth, gently urging their stories to unfold within the calm and quiet atmosphere, allowing all cares to release from the moment. As Aster savored the last of her tea, a sense of gentle contentment settled within her, and she felt ready for whatever the day might bring. The bookstore was now ready to welcome all with the soft light of morning. Chapter 2. Shelving and Sorting. The soft glow of morning now fully illuminated the bookstore, the gentle sunlight filtering through the large windows, casting long, inviting shadows across the wooden floor. Aster moved with a quiet grace toward the back room, where stacks of recently returned books awaited her attention. She took a deep breath, appreciating the familiar scent of paper and ink that seemed to permeate the very walls of the store, a comforting aroma that always settled her mind. She began by separating the books, placing them into gentle piles according to genre. Fiction, non-fiction, poetry, each category forming a small, orderly heap. With ease, she reached for a small cart, its wheels turning softly against the floor as she moved it among the different piles. She gently began placing the books on the cart, her fingers tracing the spines, a mindful act that deepened her connection to each one. She noted the colors of the covers, the weight of the pages, the individual stories held within, each one with their own subtle texture and personality. As Aster pushed the cart toward the main shelves, she noticed a particular book, its cover worn with age, its pages slightly yellowed, a well-loved copy of a classic poem. She picked it up gently, its spine still firm, and began to flip through the pages, her eyes softly scanning the familiar lines. She remembered the first time she had encountered this poem, the way its words had resonated within her, and how it had opened up a new world. She felt the connection between herself and the story held within, aware of how it has touched lives for decades. With care, she placed the book back on the cart, feeling a sense of connection to those who have also held it, read it, and shared in its beauty. Each book was more than just a collection of pages. It was a vessel of shared human experience, and Aster felt a quiet responsibility to protect and cherish each one. As she approached the shelves, she allowed the cart to come to a slow and gentle stop. Aster began to work her way along the shelves, each action slow, purposeful, and focused. She placed the books into their designated spots, gently guiding them into their space, creating a sense of harmony along the towering wooden shelves. The rhythmic motion, the soft thud of a book against wood, brought a sense of calm order to the space. Each act was done with gentle awareness, creating a sense of ritual and care. She allowed her fingers to brush against the spines of the books as she moved through the aisles, noting the texture of the varied bindings, the smooth leather of an old journal, the rough cloth of a forgotten fantasy, the soft paper of a contemporary novel. She noticed the slight variations and differences, each a unique representation of the story they contained, and felt a sense of connection to the many lives that these books had touched. She smiled inwardly at the notion that these stories were all living lives within the quiet corners of the bookstore, patiently waiting to be discovered. With each movement, Aster's breath slowed, and her awareness deepened, her attention drawn to the quiet beauty of the task at hand. She moved in a flow state, feeling a sense of release, like a small dance of gentle intent. She paid attention to the order of the shelves, moving mindfully through her tasks, allowing each action to serve as an invitation to deeper presence and inner peace. As the last book found its home on the shelf, Aster felt a deep sense of contentment and ease settle over her. The books now sat in quiet order, waiting for their next reader, their stories patiently ready to be shared again. She knew that each would call out to the right reader when the time was right, with ease and grace, allowing all cares to gently release from the moment. Chapter 3. The Gentle Sound of Reading. The soft morning light continued to stream through the windows of the bookstore as a gentle melody of a bell announced the arrival of a visitor. Aster looked up from where she was carefully alphabetizing a small collection of cookbooks and smiled warmly as a small figure, no taller than the counter, walked slowly through the door. It was Leo, a regular visitor to the bookstore and a lover of all things story. He clutched a worn picture book close to his chest, and his small face was bright with anticipation. "Good morning, Aster," Leo whispered, his voice small and sweet. She noticed the way he shyly tilted his head and the way his eyes sparkled with excitement. Aster smiled, her heart filled with warmth. "Good morning, Leo," she replied, her voice gentle and welcoming. "It's wonderful to see you. I see you've brought a special story today." Leo nodded, his small hands gently smoothing the cover of the book. He held it out for Aster to see, his eyes wide with excitement. "This one is about a little bear who goes on an adventure," he said, his voice filled with wonder. She recognized the book as a well-loved classic, its pages dog-eared and its cover slightly faded, a story known to her like an old friend. With ease, she guided him towards the small reading nook she had created near the front window, where two soft armchairs sat facing each other. Aster settled herself into one chair, and Leo eagerly climbed into the other, settling himself comfortably amongst the cushions. Aster reached for the small footstool beside her and offered it to Leo, who carefully placed his feet, feeling well supported and grounded. He looked at her expectantly, and she smiled at him, feeling the joy of shared space. She gently took the book from his hands, allowing her fingers to trace the worn cover. The story was about a small bear who traveled far into a magical forest, and she began to read in her soft, melodic voice, her words slow and rhythmic. Her tone was calming, allowing her to feel present as she spoke, and she allowed her voice to take on the characters, bringing their stories to life. Leo listened intently, his eyes wide with wonder, his small body completely still, absorbed in the unfolding tale. As Aster read, the bookstore seemed to grow even more quiet and peaceful. The soft sounds of her voice and the gentle turning of pages filling the space. Each word she spoke was an invitation into a world of imagination, a reminder of the magic that exists within stories, a gentle reminder of the connection between all beings and our collective experiences. As she told the story, she could feel herself and Leo moving deeper into the calm, the sense of peace growing and growing with each turn of the page. The tale unfolded with ease, each scene painted vividly in her mind as she shared it, her voice a soothing melody that carried Leo deeper into the narrative. Her words encouraged him to see himself in the tale, inviting him into the shared experience and gently guiding him into a world of wonder and beauty. When the last page had been read and she had gently closed the book, Leo looked up at her, his eyes shining with happiness, and with ease he nestled back into the soft cushions. He smiled at Aster, a wide, joyful smile that made her heart feel warm. She returned the smile and allowed herself to fully receive the warmth and gratitude emanating from his small being, allowing all cares to gently release from the moment. Chapter 4. Afternoon Light and Quiet Browsing. The afternoon sun cast a warm golden glow through the large windows of the corner bookstore, creating long, soft shadows across the wooden floor and the towering bookshelves. The quiet hum of the day had settled into a gentle rhythm, a peaceful counterpoint to the activity of the morning. The scent of aged paper, ink, and the lingering fragrance of chamomile tea still hung lightly in the air, a subtle, comforting aroma that embraced all who entered. Aster moved with a quiet grace, attending to the needs of her afternoon visitors. A few individuals wandered among the shelves, their fingers tracing the spines of the books, their steps soft and measured. A young woman sat quietly in a corner armchair, her nose buried in a novel, lost in its pages. An elderly gentleman browsed the poetry section, his brow furrowed in concentration as he scanned the titles. Each was immersed in their own world of story and reflection, each choosing to inhabit the peace of the space with ease. With gentle intention, Aster moved to the counter area and began to prepare a fresh pot of tea, this time choosing a fragrant blend of rosé and lavender, its soothing scent a gentle invitation to rest. She moved with a sense of purpose, each action smooth and measured, her movements in concert with the quiet rhythm of the afternoon. As the water began to simmer, she allowed herself to pause and notice the warm glow of the sun on the bookshelves, the soft play of light and shadow across their surfaces. She noticed a new visitor had entered. He was young, in his early 20s, and his gaze was fixed on the book in his hands, his body still in the doorway. She moved towards him with intention and with a gentle smile asked, "May I help you find what you're looking for?" The young man lifted his eyes from the page with a kind smile and simply said, "Oh no, thank you." And with that he walked slowly further into the space, his eyes moving along the shelves. Aster moved to a quiet corner of the store, taking up a small mending basket that held a project she was currently working on, a small hand-knitted blanket for her friend's coming newborn. The gentle click of her knitting needles, the soft rhythm of her hand movements were a soothing counterpoint to the quiet atmosphere of the space, a reminder of the simple pleasures of the present moment. Her movements were soft and relaxed, her actions measured with awareness. She observed the visitors as they moved through the space, noting their individual interactions with the books, their unique explorations. She felt a sense of deep appreciation for the simple joy of shared experience. The bookstore was more than just a shop. It was a haven, a space for quiet contemplation, for connection, and for the shared love of stories and literature. And she felt so grateful to be the keeper of this space. The afternoon sun began to dip lower in the sky, its golden light softening to a warm amber hue. The light touched the worn pages of books and spilled across the worn floorboards. The bookstore held its gentle glow, its quiet presence an invitation for all who entered to slow down, relax, and settle into the peace of the moment. And as she sat quietly with her yarn, she could feel the ease of the day continue on to unfold. As each moment passed, she was filled with an immense feeling of calm and ease, a comforting rhythm that accompanied the soft light of the afternoon and allowed all cares to gently release from the moment. Chapter 5. A Gift of Flowers. The gentle afternoon light had begun to soften, casting long, warm shadows across the bookstore floor as the bell above the door chimed, announcing a new visitor. Aster looked up from her knitting, a small smile forming on her lips as she saw Noel enter, his arms filled with a colorful assortment of seasonal flowers. He moved with a quiet grace, his footsteps soft against the wooden floor, the scent of freshly cut blooms preceding him, filling the air with a delicate, sweet fragrance. "Good afternoon, Aster," he said softly, his voice gentle and kind, as he placed the bouquet on the counter. I thought these might bring a little extra joy to the bookstore today. The flowers were a mix of vibrant colors, deep purples of lavender, soft pinks of roses, and bright yellows of sunflowers, their petals still holding the soft dew of the early morning. Aster stepped towards the counter, her heart filled with warmth and gratitude, feeling deep appreciation for his thoughtful gift. "Noel, these are absolutely beautiful," she replied, her fingers gently tracing the delicate petals of a rose. "They smell heavenly. Thank you so much." She noticed that he always chose the perfect selection of flowers, as if he knew what she needed. It was a small act of kindness that she deeply appreciated, the gesture carrying a sense of warmth and community. With care, Aster reached for her favorite vase, its simple glass form the perfect vessel to showcase the flower's delicate beauty. She slowly removed the stems one by one, carefully trimming the ends, allowing her awareness to rest on the softness of the stems and the gentle petals. She had often found peace in these small acts of service and gratitude, allowing her to be fully present with each moment. She began to arrange the flowers, her movements fluid and purposeful, each stem placed with intention. She allowed the colors and textures to guide her, finding balance and harmony, her focus resting softly within the small task. The act of creation always held a certain type of quiet contemplation, a soothing rhythm that allowed her to feel connected to the natural world. She felt each color and scent in her hands, experiencing them fully as she moved. As she worked, Noel watched her, his eyes filled with a gentle appreciation. He seemed to understand the peace that she found in this simple act of beauty, and he too settled into the quiet rhythm of the moment. The afternoon light washed over them both as they experienced the simple joys of the space in silent harmony. Once she had finished arranging the flowers, Aster stepped back to admire her creation. The bouquet was a vibrant burst of color, its delicate forms adding a touch of nature's elegance to the bookstore. She placed the vase near the front window, where the light would catch the petals and illuminate their unique beauty. She smiled at Noel, feeling a sense of shared joy and contentment. The bookstore now held the combined scent of aged paper, ink, herbal tea, and the fresh fragrance of the flowers, creating a soothing and comforting atmosphere. It was these small, simple acts of giving that made her heart feel full, and with a gentle breath, she allowed all cares to gently release from the moment. Chapter 6. The Closing Hours. The sun had begun its slow descent, painting the sky with hues of soft orange and gentle pink, and the bookstore was now bathed in a warm amber glow. The activity of the day had quieted, the last few visitors having departed with their chosen stories. Aster moved with a quiet purpose, her footsteps soft against the wooden floor, a familiar rhythm that always brought her a sense of calm. She began to prepare the bookstore for the night, each task performed with mindful intention. First, she moved through the aisles, gently straightening any books that had been moved, her fingers tracing their spines as she passed. She noted the titles, the authors, the stories they contained, each one a vessel of human experience, quietly awaiting their next reader. She moved with ease and familiarity, her actions a slow and graceful dance through the space, her breath deep and measured. She experienced her own subtle movements, allowing each action to be a simple invitation toward presence. Next, she moved to the tables and chairs, rearranging them into their designated positions, creating a sense of order and balance. She straightened the cushions, gently fluffing the pillows, ensuring that the reading corners were inviting and comfortable. Her movements were slow and deliberate, the soft touch of the fabrics an invitation to softness and rest. She felt grateful to be able to create such a welcoming atmosphere. She walked to the windows, pulling down the shades, the soft rustle of fabric a comforting sound as she prepared the space for the evening hours. The light filtering through the shades cast gentle shadows across the floor, creating a cozy and inviting ambiance. She took a moment to notice the subtle way that the shadows were falling as she released the blinds to their lowest position. Aster then moved to the small counter area, carefully wiping down the surfaces and placing everything back into its proper place. She washed the teacups, their delicate porcelain cool against her skin, and tidied the small collection of herbs, her actions slow and deliberate. She savored the subtle aroma of the herbs and the warm water, a simple reminder of the present moment. She organized her pens, making sure each one was in its proper space, and took a slow, calm breath. With care, Aster turned off the lamps, allowing the soft glow of the outside streetlights to illuminate the space, its gentle light a soothing balm. She moved through each room, each action bringing a deeper sense of completion to her day, and with each action she reflected upon its purpose. The bookstore, she knew, would rest peacefully through the night, its stories gently waiting to be shared once again. She took one final walk through the space, allowing her fingers to trace the wooden shelves, feeling the texture of their smooth surface beneath her touch. She appreciated the quiet order of the room, its soft light and familiar scents, its gentle aura of peace and contentment. She felt a sense of gratitude for this space, for the stories it held, and for the moments of connection it had provided, allowing her heart to slowly settle into a place of calm. As Aster turned off the final light and stepped out into the quiet night, she felt a deep sense of contentment settle within her. The day's tasks were complete, her heart was full of quiet joy, and with ease and grace she locked the door, and with one last look back, she allowed all cares to gently release from the moment.